qualities with the hot water poured over them, Dalton's face revealed a pleasure reserved for that very ritual. He sipped, kissed her mouth. Lowering himself to the floor to stretch, he watched her change into her tights and throw on a few layers. On the way out, Ava grabbed a few bottles of water to toss in her bag that she clutched in her lap all the way to where they arrived to launch from. She sat still in the seat of the lifted Ford Raptor as Dalton made his way around to open the door for her, helping her out onto her feet. Now, Captain Stenberg had dismounted from moving track and up-armored vehicles with the equivalent of her body weight in gear and equipment. It allowed Dalton to handle her with care. After 2 hours, where conversation centered around their childhood stories as they paddled up and down the James River. Each took care to listen closely. Despite Dalton's lack of interest in painting or equestrian training or Ava's lack of depth of knowledge of baseball or the impact Laird Hamilton has had on the world of surfing and fitness. How do you feel about Seattle? You ever been there? Dalton asked Ava as they loaded their boards into the back of the Raptor. Sure, I've been there. I have friends that have been stationed there. I've even flown patients to specialty centers out there. The Army even cut me orders to Lewis McCord at one point. I almost moved out there. Changed my phone number to a 206 area code and everything. Then, classically, they armied me. They armied you? Yeah, they changed their mind, flipped the script, canceled the stupid orders. They can just do that? Hell yeah, they don't care about you and your plans. He mulled over her words as she swigged heavily from the plastic water bottle that crumbled in her grip as the last drops emptied into her mouth. Dalton fired up the truck, got them back to her place quickly. The refrigerator was beginning to cool his feet as he stood in the open doorway in search of food upon returning. He glanced up to see Ava peel off her top as she cracked the back door for Xena to go out. He peered over the top of the fridge door as she began to lose her tights as well. Dalton shut the door and darted over to her to wrap her up, his hands around her waist. I'm glad it wasn't just me and that you were paying attention. No, it's never just you. The two clumsily made their way to the master bath, tugging at each other's clothes. Dalton appearing more successful at the task than his opponent, as he turned to run the water for the shower. Ava grabbed his pants and boxer briefs together, skipping steps, so to speak. The pair cleaned up, spent the better part of the hour between the shower, the bed, and back again. Dalton emerged from the shower, first, to start the coffee and put some breakfast together. At first it was going to be something fast and simple, but he returned from paddleboarding starving. That was more than an hour earlier. Scavenging some vegan protein powder from the cabinet to mix with coconut milk and a banana, Dalton satiated his hunger so he could get to work with what he had access to. Ava was summoned by the smell of coffee brewing and saw that he was getting into his zone. A kiss to his cheek and squeeze on his shoulder told him that she was nearby, but it was clear to get after whatever he was chasing. She clicked through her iPod to find some Gotan project to play in the background, in hopes that his culinary spirits would be energized as she moved from room to room tidying up. Dalton put his hands in some organic shredded potatoes and locally farmed eggs. He smelled some asparagus he found on the bottom shelf, but was unable to make a determination that way. It looked to be firm and full of color, and knew his weed would smell bad afterward anyway. Dalton began with sauteing the asparagus in the cast iron skillet with oil and minced garlic until the pieces were all golden, and just crispy enough to suit his liking. Tony Shishira's seasoning sizzled as it met the hot oil in the dark pan. Potatoes were all evenly distributed across the surface to ensure equal browning, and sprinkled with a second dash of seasoning over the top, the shredded spuds. And filled the air, second only to the coffee that was finished brewing in the pot next to the plate where Dalton had stacked the sprigs of golden asparagus. A spoon was fished from the drawer beneath the coffee pot before being plunged into a jar of coconut oil. Ava had been on a bulletproof kick lately, and Dalton just couldn't get on board with it, but he would prepare her coffee any way she wished. Dalton sprayed the bottom of the ceramic pan to crack all 12 of the locally raised organic eggs into. "You better book some more commercials if you plan to eat free-range eggs by the dozen like that, Mr. Michelson," Ava said with wide eyes over the hanger she was draping her exercise tights through. What? They're yours too. I wasn't gonna eat all of them. I said I'd like 2, please. Oh, come on. They're medium eggs at best. You can have 3. Yes, dear. She smirked. He stuck his tongue out at her, to which she replied by tossing a balled-up pair of socks at him from the pile. Instinctively, Dalton grabbed a wooden spoon from the crock beside the stove and swung the projectile over her right shoulder. Both froze momentarily at the speed with which that occurred, and she laughed and redirected Dalton's attention to the eggs in the pan. He divided the eggs, yolks running over the browned mounds of potatoes. Dalton scraped the asparagus into the pan and bumped the heat up to a medium-high as he cracked some sea salt and pepper over them. A few tosses in the pan, and steam was rolling off of them as he stacked spears artfully atop the plates of potatoes and eggs. Ava attempted to shield just how impressed she was with everything down to how he plated their now brunch. The fork's edge was all she needed to cut through the flesh of the garlicky asparagus and potatoes. She pushed a bite of egg through the yolk to taste it. Dalton looked on for a reaction that granted approval, and yet another attempt to please her palate in the kitchen. She swallowed with delight before nearly choking on her coffee. "What are you doing?" she digressed and continued cutting her food into sectioned bites, shaking her head. Dalton simply looked her in the face with almost a challenging demeanor as he proceeded to cover his plate with ketchup. Forever her American boy, she closed her eyes and enjoyed another delicious salty forkful. What began as a verbal agreement that whoever cooks doesn't have to do dishes quickly became an agreement to engage both in the process. Dalton slowly towel-dried a handful of silver as he ogled Ava in her boxers and spaghetti string tank top. "What are you looking at?" she asked the spacey-looking Dalton. "When did you know you wanted to join the Army? Have you always been the oddly attractive tomboy?" "Shut up." There was a silence that he permitted as she decided how to proceed. His eyes focused on her lips, and the rise and fall of her chest with each breath before she spoke. "Dancer. A dancer? What, like down to Paper Moon? Don't be cruel. No, I mean a real dancer in ballets." She was serious, and her face spoke to her remembering something that brought the tiniest smile to her eyes. Returning from her thoughts, she continued, "My mother was in the Peace Corps, and Daddy was a colonel. They were both nurses, and I thought that would make them happy. Turns out, it made me happy too. This conflict is one thing I've been waiting for. I'm well and strong and young enough to go to the front. If I can't be a soldier, I'll help soldiers." "Do you know who said that?" "Rosa Parks." "Clara Barton, you beanhead. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you." "What? I wasn't good at history class, but I could hit the ball over the fence 20% of the times over the bat. Do you know that I could get 30% of my job right and make millions of dollars doing what I did? And if I only did my job right 30% of the time, there'd be thousands more flags delivered to widowed spouses and mothers." I'm sobered at the remark that left him looking on at her rich with admiration. He wasn't ready for that. "You're the jarhead." "No, those are the Marines. Even Rangers have to have somebody to look up to." Her wink as she moved the laundry basket from the card table to the sofa reminded him that she was all right with the direction of the conversation. He pressed, "And now, you're both." "Both what, sweetie?" "Both soldier, and you have to take care of soldiers." "Get to." "I get to take care of soldiers. Even the jarheads." She looked over at Zena, asleep by the back sliding glass door. His phone lit up next to Dalton's arm, where he leaned on the counter. "It's Huma. Should I send her a selfie?" "Give me that," she kidded as she snuck a kiss on his neck. Huma's got a thing with her family. I think she's trying to beg off. I should just tell her not to worry about it and call that overpriced dog B&B down West Broad. I just hate sending Zena to some place she doesn't know, with people I don't know, before I go away for work. I'll do it. I'll watch her. She can stay here. I'll just check in on her before I go in on lunch and after I close up or finish. I've memorized your routine because it's so routine. I don't mind. The thought had literally not crossed her mind. She was taken aback with the generosity of his commitment. Most men in her life couldn't even spell the word, let alone keep one. Dalton, do you mean it? I couldn't drop something this big on you, such shit on others. I'll leave some cash on the counter for food and treats. Ava, seriously, I love you both, and it's no big inconvenience, seeing as how I spend so much time here anyway. You trust me, don't you? She hung her arms around his neck, thumbs massaging the base of his skull beneath the surface of his beanie. All she could manage was to kiss his forehead and press hers to his. In that moment, her balance for services rendered had been paid in full. The hour that followed remained mostly quiet, except for the music playing, which would either softly sing along to at various points. The laundry got folded and found its place. Ava finished packing her bags for the 3 days TDY and the one overnight at her folks' place for Mother's Day. Ava laid on her stomach across the width of her mattress in an attempt to look through a plastic tote under her bed. Dalton leaned inside the doorframe of the bedroom, admiring her silently. "May I help you?" she asked without diverting her attention from beneath the bed skirt. "How did you even know I was standing here?" "I can hear you breathing. From all the way over there." "I have to listen to breath sounds over the jet engines. I can hear you from all the way over here, Dalton. Trust me." "Can you hear my stomach growling too?" "We just ate, silly. It was nearly 3 hours ago, and with all that paddling, I burned a lot of cake cows. Let's go hunt and gather. My treat since you're leaving tomorrow, and I don't get any dates till you get back." "Oh, you mean that? You mean you won't take any of those baristas from downstairs in your building up on their offers while I'm gone?" "That's disgusting, and there are laws against that. Thank you. What are you hungry for anyway?" "You're the one that's hungry, not me." "How about Terrence?" "You're the local, my American boy. Get dressed. Something cute. You're gonna like this place." Dalton disappeared into her closet before she could, to emerge with an outfit in hand. Was this premeditated? That was way too fast. "No, I just never know when I need to have something at the ready. Well, at least I know how dressed up I need to go for. You're ridiculous, you know." "Oh, I know. We should hurry, though, if you want to beat the dinner rush." He blew a kiss as he strung his brown leather belt through the loops of his olive khaki pants. She bit her bottom lip, rolling her eyes as she made her way past him to the section of her closet reserved for special occasions. As Ava stood, staring at the same clothes in the same spot, Dalton stepped toward her, slipping his veiny biceps into the long navy shirt sleeve of his mizzen main button-down. She raised her phone to take a picture of the clothes hanging in front of her. "What are you doing, baby?" "I'm going to send home a picture of what's here to see what she says to wear. She knows my body best and will know what I should put on, so I'm not standing here all night while you stand there handsome and starving." "Who knows your body better than I do, eh?" "Really?" "Sweetie, this and this, with this necklace and those shoes." The items he pulled from the hangers with the accessories and shoes integrated perfectly with one another. She stood stammering a moment before realizing that he had literally dressed her better than she would have ever dressed herself. Likely even better than Huma could have. "And that new lipstick you wore last week, the more subdued raspberry one, would be perfect." He kissed her cheek, then retreated to the washroom to brush his teeth and push a comb through his hair. Ava paused, shaking her head in amazement that she was just given fashion advice by a male model, and she was taking it. He was beautiful, literally an actor and model. And he was taking her to dinner. She emerged from the closet with a pair of flowy, black, high-waisted pants with a top that draped her perfectly. It really made her shoulders and arms look fantastic, and kept her middle looking trim while not accentuating her hips that she was always concerned overpowered her aesthetic. Her self-approval was nearly dashed when she joined Dalton at the bathroom vanity. To see his polished look complete, and her hair looking the disaster that it was, intimidated her for the 11 millionth time as she looked at their reflections side by side. "I'm a mess."